Hello and welcome to the next in the 3 and 3 series when I tell you 3 quite interesting facts about one of my books. Now, people have pointed out about these videos, while they like them, they're never 3 minutes long. There's a very good reason for that. It's because I have to do an introduction to explain what I'm doing in a video, but that makes it more than 3 minutes long. And now I'm doing an introduction to explain why I'm trying to not do an introduction, which even while I'm talking, I realise is completely ridiculous. So without further ado, we're going to do The Quiet Man, Book 3 of McGarry Stateside. And I've got myself a little timer thing. There you go. See, it's set to 3 minutes. So let's crack on. And we're off, ladies and gentlemen. Number 1. This book is basically me. It's a wish fulfillment book, if you like, because I have a list of. I always like, if you notice, I always want to write. I've said it before. I want to write different books. I don't want to write the same book again and again and again. You know, it's a key with keeping things fresh for myself, and hopefully for you as the reader. So I have ideas of stuff I wanted to watch and wanted to write. And like, for example, I think of the McGarry Stateside series, they are basically movies in my head. They're kind of thriller movies. The Dublin books are maybe more TV. There's just a different dynamic to them. And I like switching between the two of them because, again, it keeps it fresh. And on my list of stuff I always wanted to write is I wanted to write a heist movie, which I think is becoming a bit of a lost art form in recent cinema. I love those kind of films. And Prison Break. Basically, I took those ideas and smashed them together, made a mashup, and that's what this book is. And while I love it for that, I will not lie, it was the most complicated thing I've ever written, certainly on this side of the stuff I write, because it was like a Swiss watch where you had so many different moving parts and they all had to connect perfectly or it wouldn't work. And there was the sisters and Bunny and Diller and Smithy, lots of things going on. So the board was full of different colours. There was pieces of string, there was post-it notes. I spent a long time going through that. 1 minute 45, cracking on to number 2. It features a cult. People are asked about this because basically the Stranger Times, I'm obsessed with sort of paranormal and odd things like that, as they see in the Stranger Times, but even like, you know, cults, ghosts, all that kind of UFOs, all that stuff I find fascinating. Now, people always make the mistake of some people, you know, thinking being interested in and believing in something, which are two very different things. Weirdly, I became fascinated about cults. This is true. I was working as a specialist on Y2K, which if you don't remember what that is, well done, you're a young person. I was a Y2K specialist in IT at the time, and I started looking up forums was the time, looking at various cults, because all this stuff was supposed to happen on New Year's Eve. There was all these things people were going to expect them going to happen, all kinds of weird cults and stuff. None of it did, but I'm fascinated by those things, and that's I've always been, because I think fundamentally with that stuff, some people read history and economics and stuff to find out about humanity. I think the weird stuff is what defines us, and I always find that's very interesting. And by the way, the cult Celestial Church of New Hope, it took us ages to come up with a name for a cult, because there's so many of the bloody things these days that you have to find one that's not in use. Right, finally, part 3, Prison Break part of this, because obviously I had the idea for the book, which was getting Bunny into the prison. I kind of knew how that was going to work. Here's a fun fact about prisons. They do not like telling you how security works for their prison. So I did all this research and I couldn't find... So I basically invented a prison entirely. I came up with quite a cool thing with involving trains and stuff, not to give too much away. But I basically put Bunny in the prison and I had no idea how I was getting him out. And I had to bust him out of prison and come up with the idea. And I'm genuinely quite proud of the mad ideas I came up with to actually get him out and all the changes in security, because it was challenging. And there we go. Speaking of challenging, that was 3 and 3. I hope you enjoyed it. And shut up. And if you haven't read The Quiet Man, I mean, grab it now, obviously, and get it quickly, because book 4 in the series, Other Plans, is currently out on pre-order. Or if you're watching this a bit later, it's out now. So I hope you enjoyed it. That is all from me. Thank you. Goodbye.